go to the belly. There's a new heavyweight champion of the world, and his name is Evander.
After knocking out Buster Douglas to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield's first 3 title defenses were against Burt Cooper and over-the-hill greats George Foreman and Larry Holmes.
There was this thought that he was just holding on to a title that still really belonged to Mike Tyson.
The 30-year-old champion would next defend his title against 25-year-old Riddick Bowe, one of the most talented big men the sport had ever seen.
We knew that he had the size, we knew he had the speed, we knew he had the strength and the talent.
Holyfield and Bowe were 2 undefeated young world-class heavyweights fighting in their prime, a rarity in today's era.
A lot of people felt that I couldn't do it because I was a small man.
Bowe was too big and too powerful for Holyfield to defeat. He was undefeated in 31 fights with 27 knockouts, but yet to face a fighter Holyfield's caliber.
This is a chance for Holyfield to start to get his.
What we didn't know was just how much of Holyfield's warrior mentality would make this one of the greatest fights in heavyweight boxing history.
Damn pit bull from Georgia would not go down.
Together the two etched their names into the record books for having given us one of the greatest threesomes of all time.
And perhaps we can do the third time. Perhaps the next one might be greater than Phil in Manila.
Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe complete the best trilogy in heavyweight history with a brutal slugfest that sees both men hit the canvas.
Alright, Cam, I'm coming back. I warned him again. I warned him again.
Evander Holyfield turned professional in November 1984, after a successful amateur career that included an Olympic bronze medal.
Goes down, followed by Holyfield.
Holyfield quickly established himself as a force to be reckoned with in the cruiserweight division.
He wanted to get close. Good flip. Left and a right.
He showcased his exceptional athleticism, speed, and power, earning a reputation as a relentless and hard-hitting fighter.
I think he had talent, but he had so much character going for him, you know.
After dominating the cruiserweight division, unifying all 3 belts, Holyfield decided to move up to the heavyweight division.
Stepping up into the heavyweight division for the first time, just 25 years of age.
Holyfield's success as a heavyweight contender quickly led him to a title shot against Buster Douglas, who upset the world by beating Mike Tyson.
A lot of people felt that I couldn't do it because I was a small man.
It took Holyfield just 3 rounds to wrench the heavyweight crown, but subsequent decision wins over aging legends George Foreman and Larry Holmes, as well as a close call against late replacement Burt Cooper, led to critics questioning his validity as champion.
People want the heavyweight champion to be dominant and exciting.
Riddick Bowe also came into the 1992 contest unbeaten, with an impressive 27 knockouts in his 31 victories.
Looked over and winked, but no!
His manager Rock Newman had a huge ace up his sleeve. He convinced the professor of trainers, Eddie Futch, to train him.
He has the potential to become the best heavyweight I've ever trained.
And it certainly paid off.
By bringing in Eddie Futch and then working patiently to help Bowe mature, Newman now has a well-schooled, confident challenger ready to give his best effort.
Bowe had put himself in place as the best young heavyweight out there. He rose through the ranks in impressive fashion, working his way through a string of journeyman and fringe contenders. He put himself in pole position with knockouts of Tyrell Biggs, a second-round win over the aforementioned Cooper, a highly impressive first-round demolition of Selden, and a 7th-round victory over Pierre Coetzee in an eliminator for the title.
This is a chance for Holyfield to start to get his.
The fight was scheduled for November 13, 1992 in Las Vegas at the Thomas & Mack Center.
He's not going to hit with anything like that come Friday night. But if he does, you know, I'm looking forward to it. We both have skill. It's determination, the factor.
Bowe was installed as the favorite to win because of his size, weight, and reach advantage.
A number of people expect a change in the heavyweight championship incumbency tonight.
Big Daddy came into the matchup 30 pounds heavier, 235 pounds than the slimline Holyfield 205.
And already Bowe begins to hold and hit, and they brawl.
Holyfield had difficulty trading punches with the bigger, stronger, and younger Bowe.
I knew that he had a lot of ability, he had quickness. He showed determination throughout the whole fight.
He was drawn into a brawl, fighting on the inside. The 10th round was quite simply one of the most memorable in heavyweight history.
Can't understand someone being so dirty. So you see Holyfield going down in this round, and Bowe stuns him with an uppercut.
He hit me with an uppercut.
The real deal staggered towards the ropes, but incredibly he stayed on his feet, only to come back at Bowe seconds later with his own flurry of uppercuts and left hooks.
The champion now has Bowe wobbling.
one of the greatest heavyweight rounds I'd ever seen.
In the 11th, Bowe finally managed to knock him down with his combinations to head and body.
He came in, he has the heart of a lion. I had him in trouble, came fighting back, and I had to dig deep myself.
Riddick winning all 3 judges' scorecards and bout was named Fight of the Year. His title-winning decision over Evander Holyfield was one of the greatest battles in heavyweight history.
Is the 3-minute mano-a-mano that punctuated the fight. The unforgettable round number 10.
But he squandered much of the goodwill stemming from the Holyfield fight by choosing undeserving challengers for his next 2 bouts.
Now Lennox Lewis is here to watch, and you have a score to settle against Lennox Lewis.
That big ugly bum, Lennox couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight.
As his victory over Holyfield meant he would have to make the first defense of his newly won titles against Lennox Lewis, the man who had defeated him at the 1988 Olympics to capture the gold medal.
He's looking to sidestep Lennox Lewis, but let's hope he doesn't. Let's hope I don't have to call him Chicken Bowe.
After the 2 sides could not get a deal done, Bowe chose to forfeit his WBC title rather than face Lewis, throwing the belt in the trash at a press conference.
Lennox wants this belt. We must get it out of the garbage, and then we'll be calling him the garbage picker.
His first defense was against Michael Dokes, who had briefly held the WBA title in the previous decade, and battled both mediocre opponents and drug addiction during his comeback.
Anytime Michael Dokes comes to fight, he fights.
Dokes was obliterated in the first round.
Is he going to stop it? Yes, he does. With 41 seconds still to go in the round.
Next came Jesse Ferguson, a journeyman who had scored an upset over high-ranking contender Ray Mercer.
And the left hook lands and
Easy pickings for the champ.
blows in round 1. And this is going to go pretty quickly now.
Holyfield, meanwhile, would have only one fight between his 2 Bowe fights, a rematch with Alex Stewart.
I can't go toe-to-toe with all these guys. I have to work on my craftness.
In a fight that started after midnight, Holyfield won ugly, a boring 12-round decision over Stewart.
Motivation is he wants revenge.
On August 12, 1993, the much-anticipated rematch between Bowe and Holyfield was announced.
I know he wants revenge, but it won't happen.
The odds opened at 6-1 for Bowe, who had been spending most of his time adjusting to his new celebrity in eating.
I'm a much better fighter now. If I can knock a guy out in 2 or 3 rounds.
Bowe weighed in at 246, 11 pounds more than he had weighed for the first encounter.
245, 250, and I think I'll be stronger for that.
Holyfield weighed in at 217, also 11 pounds more than he had weighed the night he lost his title.
What would be the one thing that Evander would have to do better than he did a year ago?
He's going to have to go back to the basics. You move, you jump, you hit combinations, and get out of there.
Bowe started fast, driving Holyfield back with an overhand right to the head and then wading in with both hands.
Staying outside, jumping in and out, rallying, then he has his best chance.
Holyfield's punches were quick and crisp, but, as in the first bout, they failed to move the bigger man.
I realized that I didn't have to knock him out this fight. I realized that I just had to do it just a little bit more.
In the 10th and 11th rounds, Bowe was the aggressor, but Holyfield finished the last 30 seconds of each round with furious rallies, and 5 of the 6 scores from those rounds were in his favor.
Your heart, your will, your stamina, your willingness to stay in there for 12 rounds.
In the 12th, the 2 men hammered each other with the dregs of their strength, attacking until the final bell.
I felt like going into the last round it was close. I guess the judges saw different.
Once again, heavyweight champion of the world. We are proud to announce Bowe versus Holyfield 3, the final chapter.
The third and final battle between the 2 warriors occurred in November 1995 at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas.
And I know I'm facing someone to bring the best out of me.
Holyfield has since lost his titles in a shocking majority points defeat to Michael Moorer in April 1994. Bowe had kept himself busy with 4 fights since his defeat to Holyfield.
And perhaps we can do the third time. Perhaps the next one might be greater than still in Manila.
On the night of 4th of November 1995 and in a fight billed as the final chapter, Holyfield entered first, weighing 213 pounds and wearing gold with black trim. Bowe followed in his customary white with red trim, weighing 240 pounds. It was his lowest weight since their first fight.
It was perhaps the most brutal of the 3 fights.
Bowe, in much better shape than in their second fight, looked to snap his long left jab at Holyfield, stuffing it into his face during the early action.
Somehow was able to battle back through an adversity we had never seen him before.
But Holyfield, a fighting man who never knew when he was beaten, sensationally turned the fight around in round 6. Decking Bowe with a cracking left hook to the jaw, Holyfield seemed to have pulled out his most dramatic win.
Too conscious of his power, which kind of drained me from my energy.
Holyfield did tag Bowe again in the 8th, but he was then slammed to the mat in violent fashion as he came at Bowe.
And now down goes Evander. A right hand by Bowe.
This was a crisis Holyfield could not survive, and, for the first time in his career, he was stopped in a fight.
Get up off the canvas to win this boxing match. He's got the heart. You can't take anything away from him.
The rivalry concluded. Bowe and Holyfield had given us 32 sizzling rounds of heavyweight action that rank amongst the very best in boxing history.